have to set up, I think you'd have to set up a Gmail account for yourself.
To send a Google Doc.
And to
What
create a Google Doc.
What I've done for this before is export, and then I just made it a PDF.
Yeah.
You could just
And
solve
send it
that
to
on
him.
the story.
But you
No,
could-
no, don't
everyone
do
would be able to get access. She could
And then share
share
any stories
What is that?
and
It's
really
the
not
thing I wrote
talking.
for the.
So are you guys ready?
Before.
You guys want to start?
He's way ahead of the game.
I did this, I got this one ready for November.
But I intend to say.
All right, so let's call the meeting to order. Let's go around introductions. I'm Kim Anderson, Chair.
Alan Terrence, resident.
Kevin Hardwick, resident.
Carla Dixon, president.
Jason Putnam, resident.
And Leslie Russell.
All right. Meeting protocols, we'll just follow the agenda. I personally will keep stories to a minimum. All right. Review the notes from last meeting. I actually don't think I included notes from last meeting, so it was in
Let me see if I can find it.
December. We can come back to that.
Okay.
But would somebody like to take notes tonight?
I mean.
You're actually gonna talk a lot, though.
Well, no, this is.
All I did was.
But I'd be glad to take notes. I think I moved our notes into the Google file,
That was very
but I'm
Yes, you
not
did.
sure. And I feel kind of, I'm frustrated to say, I still don't have the password to get on the town Wi-Fi.
Oh, rats, and I never found out. I think
And
that's
I asked
just
Jackie if she knew
Wiscasset.
it.
She didn't know it was, okay, well, I'll just do my best. And
Rats.
I'll just take notes in a Word doc and save it, and then I'll go, when I get access, I'll put it.
Yeah, so you don't know the password either.
I thought it was Wiscasset, but I guess I'm wrong.
Oh, I thought I tried
written
that.
down
Just,
somewhere.
I'm using my phone to get it right now.
Let's see,
You
John.
like that something you should.
Yeah, it should be written down
I
somewhere.
ended up on the thing, right? I should let you do something.
You mean,
Where's your Wi-Fi?
it's right here. So, see, I don't know which one of these is town is.
TOW.
Oh, that's good.
Do you want me to give you a hotspot on my phone?
Oh, wait a second, wait a minute. I think
I think I've got connected here before, town of Wiscasset.
Yeah, I think
So
I
it's
just
on
got.
here. The question is whether it will connect.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I don't remember the
No,
password.
actually it won't. Oh, well.
I could give you my computer.
It's,
So I forget how to do a hotspot when you do that.
All right.
You just put your phone on.
Yeah.
I have your phone on, mine just came up as Jason's phone. I clicked on that.
So you go to your phone and put hotspot on?
No, I
Alright.
didn't turn my phone on, my phone.
You can just take notes anywhere in and paste them in later.
Okay, I think I might have just gotten on, yeah, looks like it did.
Oh,
Okay,
you're on.
but I will
But
still
it
take
won't
notes.
work as a hotspot.
You got onto the internet?
I just
Why would
went
you
on
not?
town of Wiscasset, it must have been, although it's locked, I must have
Just
gotten
now
on it
go to
years
your
past.
In the
And
past.
just
Here I am. on
Connect
Wi-Fi
knows what to
here,
do, which is
But I can't get
wonderful.
on there now.
Okay.
No, if you just hit the Wi-Fi thing, I don't know.
All right, so that's done. So then we're going to review our updates of the following sections. If you have anything to update, then share it, and if not, no worries. We'll start with Alan, historic and archaeological resources.
So just up front, I've been slacking. I haven't updated anything in there. I did meet with them last month, and they're more than welcome to help with us if they want to. They're excited about it.
Wait, who is?
The Historic Society.
Oh,
So they're
great.
gonna help us basically go through the document. I just need to get with them to make sure that we have a set plan for that, whether we're gonna sit side by side and go through the entire document, or if they're gonna review certain sections. So that's on me. I need to reach back out and get that taken care of, but like I said, I've been slacking.
I think it's okay because in the state planning guidelines that I read, Ellsworth had pointed out to us, last month, and we'd actually looked at them in July. Well, I managed to read some sections, and the whole section on, there's a whole chapter on updating a comprehensive plan, and one of the words of advice was don't get caught up in the inventory, because a lot of, I guess in the 1990s and in the early, the first decade of this century, people in comprehensive plans would spend a lot of time working on their inventory, and then what would happen is by the time it was time to do the planning, committees would have low attendance and people would be burned out by it. So I thought, oh, that's great. Because we're doing some work on it. We need to do that work, but I don't want to kill us on it. So.
But yeah, so, I mean, along with that, the same thing, they said that not a whole lot's gonna be changed. I mean, is, the buildings are there, they've been there. The thing that they did have some ideas on what they would like to see, and I think I agree with the comprehensive plan, could have the addresses and not just say like the pumpkin house, but then actually have the address of that,
Good point.
which is one of the things that we're missing, so that when people are doing that,
Yeah.
I think that should just go along in the town everywhere. When we talk about it, that way people know where it is, that it's supposed to be a landmark in the town, so. So I think there's gonna be some good stuff that comes out of it that will add to what we already have currently. So that's what I got.
Alan, what about, so let me just make sure I understand this. You were talking in Lincoln County Historical or Wiscasset Historic Preservation Commission or both?
Just the commission,
The
The
town
Wiscasset
commission,
one.
okay,
yeah.
okay. All right.
That's a good point. Does that
Yeah.
section include information from Lincoln County Historical? We have some other property
Maybe,
thing here.
I'll
I
double
mean,
check that.
they might want to take a look at it. They
Okay.
probably did the last time, and probably they'll just say, it might be just worth asking them, are there any issues they feel have cropped up since the last round
Okay.
that we should be aware of?
Okay. So Carla, on population, housing, or economy,
Yeah, I've
Did
just
anything to
been
share?
out of commission for the last, well, actually even before I had an excuse. But had some car crash, computer scam,
Oh, wow.
but I can do this. Who's I supposed to do it with?
Zach, who is from our budget committee. Zach
Oh,
Arad.
okay. So do you
Zach
have,
Arad.
do you have
His
your
email?
Because I want to do this. It's important for the broadband plan
Okay.
or broadband pitch.
Yeah, I'm going to send you his email right now.
Okay. And you sent a link where they updated for,
The links that I sent were, I copied the section from the 2008 plan, and then I renamed it draft 2019.
right, I think I've got
Plan
that. I'm
update.
talking about, didn't you just send something from the municipal, the state?
Yeah.
municipal
Municipal Planning
data?
Assistance Program.
Yeah, I sent a link to the data, so you'll go in and then there's a zip, you'll download the whole zip drive, and inside that
Yeah,
they
that's,
have
I've got the
documents.
titles here, and that will give us, it should give us what we want, but there's probably additional work. I mean, especially on the housing market, this stuff isn't as up to date as it needs to be. We should be talking to some realtors in town who cover Wiscasset.
That's a good idea.
What else did you say, population? That'll give us a sense also of who's moving into town. It will be anecdotal, but it's worth getting the pulse of what they're seeing.
I wonder if it would be useful to talk to the planning board, because they oversee.
Yeah, but we're interested in bigger than just Wiscasset. I mean, what you want to see is the region and what's happening, because there's so much unaffordable housing in the south. It's pushing demand up here. And so Bath is getting more than we are, but I think it's starting to trickle in here. My own theory is we're going to get more climate refugees to Maine, period, and also to Wiscasset.
All right, this is not a personal.
No, but that's the stuff I like, so.
But the elementary school the primary school building, is potentially going to turn into 40 residential units.
That's good. Affordable housing is good. Is it just for anybody? It's not going to be for seniors?
Nope, it's gonna be just for anybody.
And will it be
Yeah.
Well, that's what they said at the select board meeting last week.
And is that going to be rentals or is that going to be condos? rentals?
I don't know, it's all kind of new.
To be-
You're planning board, you probably know more.
Yeah, ORC, we talked about it, the planning board, ORC more now is that current ordinance doesn't allow it to be multiple unless it is, we'd have to change the ordinance.
Would you have to change it?
Really?
Yeah.
We'll have to change the ordinance, otherwise it'll be elderly housing. It can be a single unit with these things in it,
But
and it's
this
gonna be
is what we
separate
need
things.
to get younger people.
I think it's gonna go forward, and it's gonna, something's gonna change to make it.
And they're not subsidized.
I don't think so, that,
There's
I
a
mean,
lot-
they
yes,
didn't
there's
say
a lot of
stuff like
fun
that.
ones, yeah, but I don't think so, I don't think.
I mean, you could do mixed, the whole thing wouldn't be subsidized, but it's conceivable that you could get a certain percentage that would have lower income, which would be good, because housing is so difficult for low income, or lower income.
Yeah, at the select board meeting, they didn't necessarily talk about low-income housing, but they talked about affordable housing.
Well, that's,
So-
basically, that's what we're talking about, it's affordable to your income, so.
And small, like one bedroom and studio size units.
Yeah, not
Like-
family units.
We'll be talking about it again in more in-depth next meeting in 2 weeks.
Okay,
about that.
I hope that it does work.
Yeah, we'll see.
I hope they filled up with kids.
The map.
It's on there, the map?
Yeah, what are the yellow ones, the yellow dots?
Okay, let me just flag it. I mean, I say I'm interested in all this stuff and then I never show up.
It's yesterday, whatever Monday yesterday was.
Second and.
This is
second
the
and-
last fourth?
Yes,
second
the
and
last
fourth.
is the.
So everybody meets on a Monday. 'cause
Four,
I
it was
want a
fourth
broadband meeting
Monday.
On a Monday too.
Yeah, Mondays and Tuesdays are big for me.
Second and fourth. How about Wednesdays? Do people meet on Wednesdays?
Some people do.
I can't see
Okay,
the.
budget committee
Can
does.
I just ask, I'm having a little block in my mind that I obviously know the term affordable housing. What is the term for mainstream non-affordable housing?
Congregate housing, I think. Congregate.
Congregate, you mean if it were in the primary school?
Yeah,
Congregate.
it would be congregate housing.
But it
It's
would be market,
Market.
that's what I'm trying to
Yeah.
think, market
Oh.
rate. But, okay, thank you.
Which is becoming more and more unaffordable for most people.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of rentals in Wiscasset.
Yeah, that is
At all. I have a friend who, she and her husband have a construction business, and they were talking about the lack of rentals here in our town. There are a lot of people who look for a place and they just
And most of
want to
them
live in
look-
Wiscasset.
Pop up, they're one bedroom, no pets, you know, sort of thing, they're like little part of someone's house or upstairs.
Yeah, we ran into that when we moved here 2 years ago, that we couldn't get anything, we actually tried to rent the house that we lived in now, we bought, we rented that for 6 months, because it's been on the market for a while, and we allowed it, but yeah, we need rental property.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Because
we
it
have a
brings
boy-
in younger people. I mean, we need young people, period.
Yeah.
So,
It's true, I know at Chonky too, a lot of young staff members who come in, can't find rental housing in the town, and they end up going into other towns and driving further and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so anything on economy, or should we,
no, I haven't done anything,
good.
so. And it's
I
all
feel like you're the
related.
only one.
Good,
Everyone's
because-
supposed to.
And it's all related, all those topics are related.
Yeah, they are all related.
Yeah.
All right. Kevin and Ann, did you guys want to update us on natural
I
resources?
you had sort of done your parts, I felt,
Well,
kind of, or?
no, I didn't realize how, whoever wrote this back in 2008, they really went 17 pages.
You mean the whole natural resources?
No, just my four sections.
Yeah, your sections, yeah.
So, I have an outline of what's there, and I'm trying to determine if, I think I'm gonna leave it how it is and just update it.
What 4 sections
Yeah.
are you doing?
I had the first 4, so I had soils, I had topography, wetlands,
Yeah.
surface water, groundwater.
Last time when you did it, was there a summary or an executive summary of the plan? Because I found this thing so dense.
Of the plan or the chapter? You mean of the natural resources chapter?
No, just in general. the
Yeah, there
plan.
was, I had it right here, Yeah, there was one. It is, I mean, it is extremely
It's-
dense. You're not alone. I mean,
Yeah,
I've
it's a
been
little-
struggling to slosh through
Yeah, that's where
my
I was at.
I mean,
sections.
you want to
and
update
just
the
about-
data, but really, I think we'd do a service if we created a really good summary of this thing.
That was my first thought, was to make this, I don't know, just more readable.
Yeah.
I
And
think
maybe
it's
a little
what-
more concise.
Yes.
It's just
Yes.
really long.
Yeah.
So that was kind of why I kind of hit a roadblock. I wasn't sure what to do with it. I mean, a lot of the techie stuff doesn't, the soils and the groundwater resource, none of that changes, but there's a lot in here about
The laws and the
the
ordinances.
zoning ordinances, and I was like, oh man, it's gonna require obviously time here.
And there's some
I know.
new stuff like anything near the shoreline, we're in the process of rewriting shoreline zoning. It's gonna be its own section.
I
in
figured
the
most of that
ordinances. We're
had
taking it out
changed.
of the whole zoning thing, making its own.
Yeah, I mean, I almost think that we should meet together at some point because I'm going through and just trying to notice language that I know is out of date.
Right.
And sort of highlight it to myself, and a lot of times I'm just making a note, update, because I see things, I didn't bring that home. I wanted to show you guys the beginning with habitat maps, and I left them in the kitchen. I'll do that at the next meeting. But there's a lot of information that, are you familiar with those beginning with habitat maps?
I have seen them, yes.
And there's a lot of information about surface water and hydrogeology, and so
Yeah.
I feel like you and I should maybe get together and kind of make a game plan. Like how, I don't think you should feel you have to rewrite it all at this point when we're just trying to update the inventory, but I feel
Right.
like you should add new knowledge, which you probably don't have that much because you're new to the town, but you have all the technical knowledge for your
Yeah,
section.
the technical stuff is, I mean, that
That's-
stuff doesn't change.
that doesn't change that
That's
much.
all, maps are updated, but
Yeah.
I suspect, most of this one maps are gonna be pretty consistent.
Yeah,
They're not
I
gonna
think
change
that's-
so much.
I think that's true. I think that a method though for, like how do we review the laws? And do we start with the municipal laws and then go to the state laws and then go to the federal laws? That's gonna take a while to compare the last inventory of laws and regulations with.
Is that our mandate? That is what the comprehensive plan
Well,
is, it all has
it's
to be
part of,
updated.
it's part of this section, that, it's part of every section every section of the inventory is to review existing laws, existing threats, existing opportunities. But for my sections, Kevin, I mean, a lot of things have actually changed. When this was written, for instance, Point East was about to happen down
Right.
by the back river, and that has obviously now changed. Gardner Pond, I feel like it's really important to find out exactly what's happening there, which might be nothing, but
Right.
it's important to say, because I think last time we advocated for some kind of protection
I think we should advocate.
of that, and
for
I think we should reiterate that and say, nothing, there's no protection has come in since the last.
Are you guys going to tackle threats of climate change?
Climate change, the state, that was really interesting, that link you sent us. And they're saying that climate change and sustainability should be
They
now
should be
in the
now.
national.
Oh, yeah.
And I had sort of been putting down piecemeal, different issues I thought were important that have bubbled up since the last plan, but they specifically say climate change and sustainability. So those are gonna make 13 sections in that
Right.
plan.
Well, I think, has Mary Ellen got some information?
Well-
Does she do work for the county?
She does, and actually, do you know Ellsworth, who?
Yeah. She was
She,
supposed to be here.
she was here at the last meeting, and I think she's, very willing to help if she can. Her time, it
Well,
sounds like her
she's,
time's very limited.
She will do transportation, transit.
Mhm.
But
Right.
I think her time is only covered for that. 'Cause
Yeah.
I tried to get her to do other stuff, and she couldn't.
And then, do you know, Kim, did she say it was about an hour a month or something that she was allowed to work?
Is that her?
Yeah.
We can ask.
We can ask her.
Why?
Hi,
Look at that.
Let's stop talking about him.
I'm
sorry, I thought this was at 6:30.
Don't
Oh, that's
worry. We have not
Well, then you're-
gotten,
Yeah, come
We
on
haven't
in.
got very far.
yeah.
Stop doing it.
But anyway, while Ellsworth's getting settled, I've had some really wonderful conversations with people about marine resources. And it's just so fun to talk to people and find out what they know. There's so many knowledgeable people in this town, you know, who know what's going on with the worming business and the farming business, lodging, and that's really fun to kind of update that information. Other stuff, we have, as Kim knows, a part-time assessor who gave me figures about the acreage of land in tree growth and the acreage of land.
What kind of assessor?
He's part-time, he comes in to the town a couple of days a month or something. Zab Ellery, he was
Oh,
here
yeah,
today.
tax assessor.
Tax assessor,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sorry. Yeah, and I was asking him about how much of the town's land was designated in tree growth tax, holding that designation and holding farmland and open space designation. And so he gave me those figures, which was really fun and interesting too, and I think they.
Do you lose farmland designation if you don't actually farm it?
Yeah, there's not a lot of land in Wiscasset that's in farmland. Tax designation. But,
Lawrence is out there, that's the correct age.
yeah, and Chewonki has a farm, I didn't, but there are other sections like wildlife and unique natural areas that I haven't really gotten to. Wildlife and unique, and Kim, you raised the issue of who's doing land use, which, in looking back at the previous plan, it almost looked like everybody, like it might be a group activity, because it was kind of a sketch of the major uses of land in the town from sort of top to bottom, like residential, commercial, open space, so that one I kind of feel like we could do at the end. Scenic resources is something I'm really interested in, and I need to update those laws. Farmland hasn't changed very much. Forest land hasn't changed very much.
Your land use and natural resources.
I'm in natural resources.
Okay.
And the good news is so far, nobody I've talked to has said, oh my gosh, we have this huge crisis with this or that, which makes me happy because it seems like, there haven't been any major disasters. And then I also am aware that we should cross-reference things in the natural resources section with other things like recreation and public facilities, like the wastewater treatment plant, so, that's for sure too. But I hear what you're saying, Kim, about don't get so caught up in inventory that you just get in a quagmire.
Yeah, it's only just what I read in the manual, and I'm looking at it right here. It says, plans can be updated in a manner that allows inventory analysis needs to be met consistent with state law and rules while leaving significant resources for upgrading the policy sections.
So maybe reviewing laws and rules, was maybe we should focus on that.
That's pretty much where I was at. I was gonna go through and basically every ordinance that's listed in here, I was gonna see if it's current, if it's been updated, and then just update the text accordingly.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and thinning it up is definitely what they're advising. It says here, aim for making your inventory leaner and meaner, focusing on information analyses that are most pertinent to the major planning issues facing the town. So,
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah,
that's good.
that's good.
I had to, in my old-fashioned way, I had to get a printout of the ordinances because I was getting lost in the
Well, you can't see, you
digital
don't see
version.
the big picture.
I know, I
We're
want
all
to get
fast,
lost, but.
we're at that age.
Yeah,
That's
we are,
okay.
I definitely am.
Well, here it is in the land use, it says, this is talking about the zoning ordinance right here.
Yeah,
And the very first thing it says is the ordinance is poorly organized.
so this is about us
About the zoning,
specifically.
this was written about the zoning
Yeah.
ordinance and the thing,
The ordinance is poorly organized, that, I believe.
and then you have to cross-reference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that sounds like you guys are making,
So we're
Highway.
slogging along, I would
Good.
say,
um,
but. We had a question for you, I couldn't remember from last time. Do you have a set amount of time you can give to Wiscasset for this? Is that right? Or is it a little blurry? Or?
It's not exactly set.
Okay.
It's sort of, if,
What you can squeak in, kind of, or?
yeah, I'm not supposed to come to all of the meetings.
Okay.
Under DACF, because DACF's whole grant to us is about $13,000 for the year for all
I
all of
see,
this,
yeah.
all of the county. So
So
more
any-
in-depth help on anything other than transportation would
Okay.
have to be contracted.
Okay,
So I'm trying to do as much as I can, and, you know, you're lucky in some ways that some of the other communities are a little quiet and don't ask for a lot.
Yeah.
Didn't we did also, as a town, raise money towards your time. It was
So-
something like 10 hours per
What-
month. Did you follow up on that?
Yeah, so
Okay.
what happened with that was Megan, the previous county planner, who was only there for a couple of months, had put forth a proposal that involved her being in-house for probably 1 day a week to help with development review. So not with the comprehensive plan.
Mhm.
That, because Megan left, that contract never got signed. So there is not actually a contract with LCRPC, like the money was approved, but then it wasn't.
Do you
Followed up
want
on
to follow up on that? Because
Um,
we definitely raised the money for it.
yeah, I mean, it's not something I was aware of when I took the position, and I'm not somebody who wants to be spending a full day a week on development review. So,
what about on comprehensive plan?
I mean,
Yeah,
again, I don't really think that I have the time for it. There
Okay.
is some possibility with, we have a new staff person, you know, I think we could sit down with Mary Ellen and our new staff person and discuss possibilities, but I'm certainly not ready to commit to a full day a week on, you know, one town's comp plan,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
don't think we need that
It
much, a full day a week, but
Yeah.
I think the other
That would be
person
more
is
than 10
doing-
hours a month.
What's her responsibility?
The new staff person is, her title's community development specialist. She's, she went through the planning program at USM, so she probably knows more about me in land use and, you
So
know,
it's more of a
comprehensive plan law than I
it's
do.
land use planning?
She works on community development. She just started on Monday.
That's right. I saw
So I'm not
that.
exactly sure, you know, how much specific background with this she has, but she might be another possibility. I think we should take this offline as far as, you know, discussing what possibilities are for that contract, if that's something, because I know Mary Ellen has had conversations with John O'Connell. I don't know the content of
Okay.
those conversations, most of them took place before I was employed with the county. So I think that's like a separate, you know,
Okay.
figuring out if there's something to be done there.
very good.
Can I just add one more PS on the natural resources section? Is we have those incredible maps now, which are really pretty neat, and they show habitat and all that stuff. I meant to bring them tonight. I feel like you'd all get a kick out of seeing them, but also the office from which those maps emerge. They said they would love to come down and explain them to us and talk to us about the comp plan and the natural resources section and
Which office is
it used to be, you know, the state planning office, but now I think it might be an IF&W or I can't remember.
it? For the actual physical planning of
This is for the focus on natural resources, you know, and looking for blocks of undeveloped land for habitat and surface water and aquifers and all that stuff. Trying to sort of use the natural systems as a guide to planning for protection and looking for areas of town that can grow without seriously impacting or destroying, you know, key natural resources. So that might be fun to do. I don't know if you're interested in that, but I thought it might be kind of fun to have them.
Related to that, we have in the ordinance review committee completely updated the poll chart. Different districts, I guess it's,
Like the zoning kind of
yeah, what you can do.
resource protection and all that.
Every district is represented and allowed things you
I
can do.
can't
I
wait.
would have brought it, it's a whole thing.
Is it-
You can do this, you can do
Is
this much
that on-
digging, you can't do this much
I mean,
digging.
is that in here or is that?
Yeah, it's updated land use chart, no, I don't believe it's in there.
Because that would be crucial for
Yeah, we need it
us.
for this, for the
I think
land
it'd
use.
be interesting to have the department come and talk. As you were
Yeah, I think that might be fun. If, I mean,
in our
I know
spare
it's.
time.
Right,
Yeah,
we don't have time for fun, we got all this.
I mean,
Lots of work to do that. Come on, you gotta do work.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, I think that, you know, I'd be interested in anyone's section, to have experts come for anyone's section just to help teach us going on, but, okay. So,
Yeah, and I was just looking, the maps that you have, did you get them from the state website? I'm looking at
It's
them here, they look
it's
pretty
the-
great.
They actually sent me printouts of them, but it's,
Oh, really?
it's those same maps, but they're easier to look at because they're like this big,
Oh, that's
which
fun.
is kind of fun.
Yeah, bring them next time.
I will.
Okay. All right, I don't know if I have public facilities and services listed here. Did we have anything we needed to
How are
update
you-
on that?
Where did you put broadband anywhere?
No, I did not.
Do you want me to cover it in the comment,
Um,
or cover it?
well, I don't think we have a public facility or service for broadband currently, or whatever we do have, we should probably summarize in that.
It's like, to me, it's like transportation.
I understand, but, I know it runs up Route 1, but,
Well, we do have updated information from the work that Mary Ellen did about where broadband is in town. So
That would be in
maps-
public facilities. section.
Well, it's really.
is it a
it's-
public facility
It's not a
now?
facility, it's not, the problem is broadband is in between status because it should be infrastructure, it should be essential utility.
Yeah.
It's not recognized that way.
Why
So-
don't you write up a summary of what exists in Wiscasset now, and then we can insert it into public facilities and services
Yeah.
with a little star, saying like, this is what we have now. And then in the visioning part,
It's
the
not,
policy part, we'll
the
address
problem,
it
the
more.
real problem is it's not public, it's private.
We'll
But-
put it-
That's what I'm not sure. then
Yeah,
if it
but
should go
anyway,
there.
it needs to be in the strategic plan, so
I wonder
wherever
if
it is, I'll
I mean,
let
it
you
might
know.
need a separate section, literally.
Right, it might. Yeah. So,
And
I'll just write it up and then we can create something, how's that?
it might also be interesting, Carla, to see, look at some other towns that might be ahead of us who have it.
Yeah,
Like, I bet some of the southern Maine towns around Portland might have it or not.
not necessarily.
I mean, if you can find a
There've
precedent
been-
in someone
there've been
else's
people
plan.
I know that Westport and Somerville put it in as a need.
Yeah.
Now,
I
whether
feel
they-
like it will end up in our sort of policy planning section.
Okay.
But maybe
I'll
one for
write
the
it up
future.
anyway. I mean, I need to write it up.
I was just thinking that if you called some other towns that have pretty sophisticated planning departments, they might tell you where they put it in their plan. And that just
My skepticism, having worked on this issue for 5 years, is that most planning departments haven't tackled it
yeah.
in the way, possibly South Portland, they're ahead of the curve.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
All right,
I'm
so,
wondering about Booth Bay Harbor might have adjusted in theirs, because theirs was done recently. I think it's gonna be more of an issue in rural plans than in urban areas, because
Yeah.
South Portland, the private market's providing broadband.
Yeah, they're not everywhere. There are gaps all over southern Maine and Cumberland County in terms of good broadband. You get, anyway, I won't go off my horse right now.
No,
but
it's interesting.
there are gaps everywhere, both southern Maine and obviously places that have nothing, like rural Maine. We are considered served because we have spectrum at high cost.
Hmm, interesting. Yeah, write it up. I look forward to hearing that.
all right. So the next section was municipal finances. Katie Bryant is pretty amazing. She updated her section. And I have it, and I'm looking, I'm not exactly sure what all of her changes are, so I kind of hesitate to go over it without her here.
So we solve it.
But she has, I mean, she did her work, and she updated the charts, like historical valuation taxes now go up through
That's great.
2018. Yeah, she's a taskmaster. She's, like,
Yeah.
every section she was given, she just,
I think she said she'd help me too, I better get her.
Yeah.
she does taxes, so I think she's about to get really busy.
Oh,
It's probably
Who's
why
that?
she's not, she does
Katie.
taxes.
no, I missed the opportunity.
Katie Bryant.
Tax preparer.
Mhm.
Darn, I was hoping I could persuade her to help us.
And then Colleen is not here tonight, and I know she's got phone calls out on regional coordination, but she said she didn't get anything written up yet. So we're
Did
still.
we skip over the public facilities and services section?
Kind of, did you have something to add? Like
Well,
you
no,
wrote
but
your
I was
section.
really interested in what Kevin had about the wastewater treatment plant.
Oh, yeah, I did skip over that. Kevin, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I finally have a password, so I have a draft right
That's
up.
my fault.
That's all
I
right.
didn't give him
There's
access,
not all,
because he doesn't have Gmail, and I discriminate against,
yeah.
and Google discriminates against people who don't have Gmail.
Yeah, well, you were trying to use my work email, I can see how that would work.
And then, does the Hotmail one work?
I think so, yeah. I think I was able to get in early.
So you wrote up a little bit about your visit.
Yeah, about the visit.
Great.
And so, I have sent it to Rick just to like look over, to make sure.
Is he still working there? Is he-
He-
Kind of like part-time advisory
Yeah,
capacity?
He said I could get a hold of him,
That's
so,
nice.
so he's gonna take a look and, yeah, so I just basically took what we had in the old plan and tweaked it, updated it based on what we saw. The old plan, it was, written pretty optimistically, and I went the other way with the write-up.
Wait,
Good.
written pretty optimistic.
It was written optimistically in
Yeah.
2008,
Yeah.
so I tried to spin it the
It
other way.
wasn't,
this time.
it wasn't optimistic.
It was
No,
terrible.
and I did get Rick's wish list of like kind of the things they'd like to address soon.
Correct me if I'm wrong, do I remember this correctly? It was about $500,000 to update the facility
Just the facility.
and
yeah.
about
Yeah.
$2 million to update the collection
He
system.
said, well over $1 million, yeah, multi-million.
And what's the most urgent?
Everything.
Well, I think short term is the facility, but I think the big cost is gonna be all the pump stations. They're all,
Yeah.
I mean, some of them haven't been updated since the 1970s. So,
There's no chance for broadband.
If there's no power, they run around with a generator and pump it from one to the next.
and the pump they're using,
Like
is a-
manually,
the pump they're
that's
using is a
very
rental pump, they don't even own it. That's one of the things you'd like to buy.
If there's heavy rains and stuff, they run with a generator from station to station, and pump it to the next station, and pump it, run back, pump it to the
Oh, my
next station.
Amazing.
That
I
is-
don't want to know.
That is amazing.
Yeah, so that's all kind of summarized, so I can stick it in the document and people can take a look.
I feel like that's a section that needs to be talked about when we talk about climate change.
Yes, definitely.
Right, because
Yeah.
that's something that Rick has mentioned to us, it's located right on the edge of the river and,
So the
Yeah, I mentioned there, putting, we're gonna solicit bids to do a feasibility study to see if they can even utilize the facility where it's at.
So you mean they might have to like build a whole new one?
Build
in
a
a
seawall
higher-
around it, or, yeah.
Yeah, building it, I thought you'd have to have a bridge that goes up and be in a coffer
So that, that's all gonna be looked
or
at.
moved.
And then if they move it, there's not a lot of places to move to at this point, so.
Wow.
That
It's
puts
not
things in
good.
perspective.
It's not good.
yeah, it's something though that needs to be considered in our 10-year and longer plan.
Yeah.
Well, that's,
Where does, oh, I'm sorry, are you guys, I had a
Oh, no, yeah, go ahead.
Where do things like facilities, they're not necessarily public, but community facilities, like childcare, senior care, things like that. Is there a place for that?
like the listing of current businesses and that sort of thing, I mean?
Well, a lot of them are nonprofits, some of them are businesses.
That's a really,
But we have Wiscasset Green, what else do we have?
would that go under housing though? Maybe?
Yeah, it's a certain type of housing, but it's also a.
No, I think that you're right on with that too. We're talking about trying to bring in younger people and having that and knowing that we have like a childcare
Or
or,
childcare is huge.
right, absolutely, and
Yeah.
that type of stuff isn't, right? Or knowing how many homes that we have that are certified to do that or something like that.
And that should be pretty easy to find out, so,
Could
and it's
that-
not just what's here, even though we want to know for Wiscasset,
Mhm.
because people often use it in the area as well, but,
Would that be under public facilities and services? I mean, we have,
That's what I'm thinking.
Economy.
we have,
Might not be
yeah, the
best place.
library, the school department,
we could put
fire
it,
department, could
we
put
could put it here. The
childcare.
implication is public facilities, services are all public, but we could, or,
If they-
and truthfully, childcare is part of the economy and workforce.
Yeah.
That's, people can't work if they don't have childcare.
Interesting.
And actually in the, I'm looking at the public facilities and services section right now, and it has, in the list of like major town-owned properties, it's got things, it's got Weight Watchers listed.
Public
Yeah, I'm not sure why,
I think that was a building that was acquired by the town because of tax delinquency or
Okay.
something.
Oh,
It was just
that's
called Weight
interesting.
Watchers because
Yeah.
that's what it did.
that was in there, so that wouldn't be the place,
It's a good thing to do.
yeah.
Well, we can figure out where it goes
Yeah.
after it gets.
I don't want my taxes going to
I don't think the Weight Watchers is still there. I did some looking at that when I first saw that.
So maybe we should create a new section for that. Is it normal for those types of things to be included in a plan?
I mean, it's,
Like, she's got like children's house and,
yeah, I think I might put that under economy possibly.
Yeah, I think.
That's what I'm looking at right
It's
now.
not like something that the town's gonna be paying for. I would see that as the
Yeah.
kind of guiding feature of, what goes in public facility services is
they
this.
do have things listed though, like other
Like the
rec
library.
facilities, like the Old Stone Farm is listed, Anne.
Under what?
Where is the
That
old
is
stone
listed
farm?
under, that's where Anne lives. That's her
Oh,
house,
okay.
and
I'm
it's
just
listed
wondering
under other
I saw
Wiscasset
that, it listed.
recreation areas.
Well, that's probably
Oh.
because of the Sortwell Farm.
Yeah.
and the trails.
Down East Family Camping.
Where are you finding this section?
This is all under public facilities and services.
That sounds the right place for it then.
Well,
Yeah,
the
the
Sortwell, maybe
schools
they're
over
looking
there.
at the farm as the Sortwell Forest, which is public, right?
The yacht club is
It's owned
listed here.
privately, but it's open to
Here in the
public.
economy, table 3, labor force employment by industry. It lists the percentage of Wiscasset, Lincoln County, and Maine of different types of jobs. Agricultural, construction, manufacturing, retail, wholesale, finance, real estate,
I mean,
education, social services.
but I feel like,
It's not listed.
I feel like that what you're talking about really, it's not public facilities, but it's services.
Well, it's
Public
part of the
facilities.
amenities of living in
Yeah.
Wiscasset, so it's very important for.
Yeah.
You could also include in there like this is a question, would you also include in there the Wiscasset Area Chamber of Commerce and the
Yeah,
Friends of
that's the
Wiscasset
social
Village?
institutional
Yeah.
infrastructure
Those
that
are-
Wiscasset has and
Okay.
potential leadership, so I think that's important.
Yeah, okay, well, we'll have to figure that one out.
And you're putting that in the notes?
Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe under public facilities and services, maybe a new
I
category.
think we create new categories.
Okay.
I think we need to because we have more things now.
Social capital, overused term, but.
I like that.
All right. Was there anything else before we move on under public facilities and services?
So I have a
Anything
question
else?
on that.
Yes.
Did somebody interview the Public Works Department about their trucks and stuff?
Yes.
Okay, did they ask whether they had an inventory of the sidewalk and street? How many feet of
I
sidewalk
did
and
not.
streets there were?
I interviewed them and I
Okay.
just updated the section that was there, but I didn't talk about sidewalks. Do you
Okay.
want me to do that?
If you're talking to them anyway, that would be great.
I don't know.
Because I'm wondering if maybe they have it, because it's not in the DOT data, and it would be pretty time
It
consuming.
is
to
in
go
here
back
though,
and
right?
forth.
So, because we had it at one time.
So, yeah, because in the old
Yeah, it's
plan,
in
they
the old
did
plan.
list a whole table
Yeah.
of sidewalks and.
So, I'm not sure like where that.
They must have that
came from,
because they
but-
maintain all of that.
Yeah, it would
Yeah.
be, it would have either had to come from them, or somebody went out with them,
And they gave all-
or somebody,
Okay.
estimated based on GIS.
I will do that.
And you're right, they did also, and they have local roads.
Mhm.
Oh, that's probably falls under you, does that fall under your section, local roads? Or,
Well, is
Or
it
is-
in the transportation chapter, or where? are you
No, it's under
talking about?
public facilities.
Okay, yeah, so there's a table of sidewalks, and then there's a table of town maintained streets, right?
I
yeah,
can do that because
Yeah.
Ted Snowden's really so nice to talk to.
yeah.
It would be like a nice afternoon to listen,
Yeah.
talk to Ted.
Might as well make it fun.
Yeah, I could bring my class.
Oh,
They
There
can
you
play in the
go.
salt pile. Like, go play. That's a terrible joke. And that's the type of thing that I'm not doing anymore. I will not.
You're doing a great job, I love it. I'm gonna go watch this
I had to
again.
watch the video last time. It was like, oh my God.
Watch the
God,
popcorn.
just like no stories. All right. So then moving on, the next thing, unless somebody wants to bring up another thing, the next thing on our list is defining the comprehensive plan committee.
I do have one other, related to climate and sustainability is, either what we've already done for solar or alternative energy and what is potentially could be done.
Yeah. Well,
would be important.
For sure.
I was gonna put that under natural resources, but
It is a
cross-reference.
natural- It is a natural energy.
Yeah, I thought maybe it should be cross-referenced with public facilities and
Yeah,
services.
yeah,
You
because,
think?
I mean, I know there are bills up there to help towns with that. We put one in last year.
Well, we have the, what do they call, whoever the guys are, I'm sorry, I'm spacing their name right now, but they, we've entered into an agreement with them to do a study of the airport.
Oh,
And then
that's
they
right.
have within, 2
Oh, right.
years, right? If it is feasible, then they're going to lease, the land for,
Solar farm.
yeah.
Are there-
It's like
is that-
70 acres.
Wow.
It comes out to be a little over $1 million over 20 years for the town, and all we need to do is.
Was that put out to bid, was that one of those things?
No,
where
they
people-
approached us.
Yeah, probably should have been put out to bid.
Yeah, I wonder.
They approached us, and,
'Cause that's a
and
pretty-
since they approached us, a couple of other places approached for different,
Right, this is big
Yeah.
business now. I mean,
Yeah.
now that they passed the law that said you could put more, you could do more with solar farms. It used to be like nine people could sign up for a solar farm, and I forget what it is now. That's opened the floodgates from out of state, and there are tons of people looking for land. So I would say for the town, don't do another one without putting it out.
Putting it out to bid, yeah, because they're probably all
Oh, yeah,
competing
they're all
now to
competing. They
do
wanna
it for
get
the
there
best price.
first, and people aren't on top of it. So, and I mean, I know if you want, I'm sure MMA is looking at this, you know, that could provide some assistance to the town on how to think about it. So,
I'll pass that along. All right. So the next thing on our agenda is defining the comprehensive plan committee. So once and for all, how many members do we want to have? The guideline recommends 7 to 11. And then I passed out board committee membership applications.
I'm not a resident, so I wouldn't be a member.
Okay,
I'm
so,
an advisor.
I email, yeah, what I thought we could do is fill these in, turn them in, and then also give a recommendation to the select board on how many people to appoint.
did you actually print them? Or-
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And then,
You've done nothing.
and then, once we're officially appointed, then we'll continue. So I want to make sure that we have a nice representation of our community. And it's, the guidelines stress repeatedly, like don't just choose people who are interested in planning the community, but choose people who represent a diverse section. And I feel like we're pretty diverse looking around the table, but,
Can we get somebody from the chamber?
so, yeah, we just need to invite somebody from the chamber.
I tried to get somebody for the broadband committee, but I didn't, it wasn't very successful. So maybe you could be more successful.
Yeah, I know, it's hard, everyone's.
Well,
running around,
participation,
busy.
real participation is really hard.
Yeah,
And then we should also, so I will ask somebody from the Wiscasset Chamber, what about a business in town? Is there a business that we would want to identify to approach and ask if they want to participate?
We
Or
talked about Chewonki before,
oh, that's true,
so that could be as a nonprofit.
right?
yeah.
Any business.
You mean Chewonki Foundation, right?
Mollica is the
They
only,
won't, yeah, we tried them for I don't think you're gonna get.
For what?
Broadband.
okay, just think about a business that's got a large, biggest employer is the school. Mollica's next.
Well, the school should be on this.
Yeah.
They shouldn't do it.
She's pretty busy right
She wants to participate.
Right.
She gets the emails.
now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
I was looking at the last committee, yeah, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There were 8 committee members, and then there were a lot of people who were
Guest
on the
members.
committees of subsections, like helping the subsections.
I think that's a smart
Yeah,
idea.
that's
A lot of people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
That's a good way to
13,
do
16,
it.
17, 18, 19 people were helping out.
Can I ask a quick question, because I
Yeah.
have to leave here
Oh,
shortly?
yeah.
where would we see the municipal planning assistance program information that you have?
That was
listed?
wasn't that the link?
Oh, yeah,
that was-
I sent that in our, the January meeting draft agenda. I'll just forward it to you again right now,
Okay.
so that you
good, I
have it
can
at the
look
top
at
of
it,
your
yeah.
inbox.
That was so interesting, Kim. I didn't totally, I have to spend more time on that link. I felt
Tons
a
of
little
information there.
disoriented, yeah, at first, but it looks like there's so much information that could be useful. I just kind of needed to get my bearings to find my way around.
You know what else it has,
Has it
which I just
drafted?
discovered tonight? There's a list of all of the towns who have submitted their plans for review, and then you can just click them open. I wasn't sure what you would get when you clicked it, but like, here's the Topsom Comprehensive Plan
Nice.
update 2019. So this would
That's
be, like,
fabulous.
we could probably just look at,
Still,
did you say Booth Bay just turned theirs in?
Booth Bay Harbor submitted theirs shortly before I got here. They actually did a contract.
Oh, it's
with
right
Bob.
here, Booth Bay
Yeah,
Harbor.
so Bob Taunts, the former county planner, did most of the work on their plan under contract, and I think Mary Ellen did some on it as well.
it'd be nice, I mean, as much as we want to participate, it would be nice if we had somebody on contract to help with this.
Oh, yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah,
I
because that's
think
what
it would
we
be a
had
huge
last.
boost.
I mean, volunteers come in and out, that's part of the problem.
Yeah,
Because it's a lot of work.
you know, when you showed Topsom, I was just thinking like, be aware, Topsom has 2 full-time professional planners,
I
you know,
know.
on the town staff.
I know, it's hard
My
because
assistant
I
planner
mean,
used to be the planning director for that,
Yeah.
so.
We all have good intentions, but.
but we all have limited time, that's the thing, and it's the bandwidth that each of us has to, you know,
Yeah.
do a really good job is definitely,
Well, we
I
have-
feel that way about myself, I don't feel like I'm doing it justice right now because I'm just lack of time.
Me too, I feel the same way. I was thinking on February break of like putting a lot of time into cross-referencing this state data with each of our sections and just dumping like a bunch of hours in. So I'm not totally against hiring someone, but we have $20,000 and I know we can go through that really quickly if we contract with someone.
Unless you
So
want it- you
before
want
we
it
contract with
facilitation.
someone, I want to make sure we really know exactly what we want them to do and then manage that so
Mhm.
that,
But I bet, I mean, I think a lot of planners in this area have done comprehensive plans, so they also know what we need to do, you know, so they,
Mhm.
I think someone could come in and say, okay, you know, you've got to start here and just help us through the steps, so I don't
let's
think we
keep
have to be
thinking about that.
totally ready either. I mean, I don't think we have to feel that we have to have a perfect package, you know, for them,
Right,
but anyway.
Yeah.
I think it would be a great push forward to have some professional help.
okay.
But I really appreciate having this link, the Municipal Planning Assistance Programs.
Yeah,
Very
I'm looking at
good.
Booth Bay's plan right here and, I mean, it's only 211 pages. Like, this is no problem, you guys. But it's really nice that we have these resources. We do have a ton of resources, and we're just all busy. So we can consider putting in money for next year's budget, but if we're gonna do that, we should start spending up this year's budget. And I just wanna be really careful about asking for money in our current climate. If people are
How
concerned about
committed
this.
is the town to doing this, Kim, would you say?
Well,
I was just wondering how committed town leadership is to updating the comprehensive plan.
very committed. I mean, it's on the horizon, you know,
Yeah.
as a selectman, I'm doing something to run again, so I can hopefully win and still be selectman and continue this process.
Yeah,
We have the funding available, and so,
yeah, okay. I
yeah.
didn't
That's
know
done. We
whether,
have the $20,000, we haven't spent anything
Yeah.
of that yet.
yeah. So
But
that's-
I don't know if we can just roll that forward to next year, like it's budget time right now, so we'll talk about it.
Yeah, or hire a good planner to
Yeah,
come
get
in
it
and
going.
give us some advice and spend some of it, you know, and sort of see where we are.
But even if, so I was thinking that it would be great to have a big meeting, like a 2-day meeting where we can bring, you know, 200 or 300 people together into a large room and feed them and have a facilitator who knows what they're doing, who can lead us through a visioning process.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's expensive.
I don't know, I hate visioning processes personally. It's like, it's all this stuff. I mean, I think to use it effectively, it would be better to have more ideas out there for people to bounce off of, rather than just an open visioning, like, what do you think the town should be doing in 20 whatever? And I think you get more of it if you're asking them to bounce off what.
Specific ideas?
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
data.
I think we have
I think you're
specific questions that have been kicking around since I lived here, like the schools is one.
Well, yeah, there
People are
Yeah,
always,
next time.
See you.
Yeah, I gotta go.
But-
Yeah.
like oftentimes people ask, like, should we close the high school and
Well,
have a K-8 school and
That's,
tuition
I mean,
out?
that's
That's a
absolutely
specific
right,
question.
specific with, okay, this is what we found out from our planning process.
Yeah.
This is the data, these are the demographics, this is what we know, the costs. And then, I mean, put it out there in some way after you have more base, rather than, gee, you wanna keep the school, of course I wanna keep the school, you know?
No, but with the information.
Yeah, but
So
with-
I'm thinking of having like an opportunity to.
You were saying later, after we got
inform-
the information, you were saying. you
Yeah,
wanted
down the
to-
road,
okay,
I think.
understand.
Down the road, which is
Yeah.
where I want to, that's what I was thinking for spending the money, like on a survey, and then on an opportunity to bring a large group of people together to come to consensus on what we want to do for the next 10 years. I find it personally frustrating to feel, as I move in different circles in the town, we're not on the same page. There are people who would like to discontinue services to eliminate taxes. There are people who think that we need to try and grow the town to increase the tax pays. I heard one person, a prominent figure, say they would like to see the waterfront fall into the river and go away. And I've heard other people say, well, we should build a marina. And I've heard people say we should close the schools and tuition our kids out. And other people say, no, we need to have the school, so if a business comes, there will be something. And I don't actually care what we do. I would like us to have consensus
Well,
so that we can move forward for a few years and feel like, all right, but this is our plan, and this is what we decided to do.
I'm not sure you're gonna get total consensus. but
Well, we're
you-
gonna
but at least
try.
you get dialogue and,
Yeah.
carry, doing a deeper understanding, hopefully, of what the issues are and the trade-offs.
But I also feel like that's the important role that this inventory plays, is beginning to gather the facts
Yes.
so that we can not get caught in that sort of, everybody's opinion, but actually ground it in what we discover here. And I think the survey that was done at the beginning of the last comp plan, I think that kind of a survey could be really useful soon. And I think the visioning stuff can happen later after this information has all been
You
shared
had some
out.
public stuff go on, you had.
Yeah,
public
oh yeah, we
ones.
did later. It was
Yeah.
later. It was very focused on sort of areas of growth and areas of that the townspeople want to conserve. But I think if you just open it up without any shape or form, then we're gonna get lost. in
So I
areas.
misunderstood your timing
Yeah.
when you wanted to do
Well, I don't
that.
know when
That
you-
was
I
good.
don't think that we should call a bunch of people together and not have any kind of guidelines. I'm thinking we need to update our inventory and
Yeah.
then put together some ideas prior to that.
Did anyone look at that survey that I think I sent? That is the last comp plan survey that was done early
Was
in
it
that?
the survey that was,
It was
what you want to
30
see where in Wisconsin?
No, that was the big visioning section that came later. It was, I thought I shared it, but it was 32 or 33 questions that were sent out by the newspaper.
You shared it, I don't think
Maybe I didn't send it. If I didn't, I was
Did it help
sending it.
direct anything in the?
I can see it all through all through the sections. The beginning of the inventory section says the townspeople, 80% of townspeople said they wanted to protect natural resources or whatever. And so it was a useful building block. We might not all agree with the results, but at least it would engage
Oh, yeah, I have it right
townspeople.
here.
And now with digital ways of putting it out there, we'd probably get more response even than we have.
Part of the problem is it's the trade-off issue, that you don't get at as easily when you're doing vision.
Right,
You
that's
know,
so
what the
true.
reality is of the trade-offs and, I've often not seen that done well.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna draw us back to the agenda, which is we are coming up with the people that we're going to invite to be on our, committee. So, not to cut you off, but I wanna go home soon too.
Yeah.
I was jealous when.
So we have the people that have already stepped.
Yeah, we have the people who've been like stepping up and helping. I've passed out the applications. I think under, I don't know, there's a spot where you can put like what you think you would contribute to the border activity. So try and imagine like what part of the community you represent when you fill that in. For municipal departments, we have school, select board, that would be me. Jason could almost be school as a school board member, also Terry, our superintendent. Nonprofits, we have Chewonki. Do we also want to ask Moore's Farm?
Yeah, that would be interesting to ask them if they would like to participate.
Okay. Yeah, because just because we ask these places doesn't mean they're gonna say yes.
Yeah.
Businesses, I wrote down Monluca. Does anybody, should we ask someone, maybe we can ask at Ames?
Ames would be good if
Other
that's Ames.
ideas?
I bet they know everything goes on.
Maybe some of the small businesses down in, someone who represents small
Do we have
business?
anybody, do we now have any technology, aside from Peregrine, where they have no time?
Yeah.
But are there any home-based businesses, technology people that are?
You know what they can do? I can ask the chamber who they
That's
would
true.
recommend.
Yeah,
That'd be
that's a
good.
good idea.
All right, what about, community organizations,
Yeah.
like specific?
Is that, so would if someone from the rec want to be on it, do you
I
think?
think that would be good.
And there's, I was trying to think of whether there'd be a village person. and a
Friends of
rural person.
Wiscasset Village, like the Friends,
Yeah, something.
the Art Walk people.
Yeah, they might want to, be involved in,
Garden club.
the garden contest.
I mean, I'm just thinking of the things that people belong to.
Art Walk.
And there's the, the snowmobile club is very active. I don't know if they would have anybody.
Oh, what about the racetrack people?
Good point.
Do you ever put churches on?
That's a good idea.
Okay.
Because they too have helps with it.
You can
Yeah,
ask all of the churches, I guess,
yeah.
each one, and
You could put out a
they
call.
submit, just because we ask doesn't mean we'll get anyone.
Yeah.
And then, age diversity is written down, so we wouldn't have, I think we represent like people with young children, kind of heavy at this table.
We had a medical
Yeah.
a person like, who was saying, trying to get Mary Raptor to participate?
Oh, that'd be amazing.
I mean, she doesn't live in town, but she's practices in town.
Yeah. And grew up in town. She works for Wiscasset Family Health,
Yeah,
She's
her
a-
parents are in town.
nurse practitioner. But she grew up here and went to Wiscasset High School, but I think she lives in Bremen now, or Medallic.
Probably you need to be a resident, I'm thinking.
Can it be an
I'm
official
not
member?
sure.
I was wondering that. It looks like everybody who worked on it last time was, so I'm wondering.
And I think typically the town, committees are made up of residents.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
I mean, I personally like to see residents.
Huh?
on the committee. I mean,
Yeah, we're-
what-
That's
what they
planning.
plan,
Yeah,
kind of
that
thing.
makes sense. That makes sense.
All right.
Sorry, I know she
No,
sounds like a
that's-
great person. and-
Yeah, but I think that makes
Yeah.
Well, you
absolute
might get her on a committee, even if she's not.
Yeah, she could contribute.
Sure.
Contribute to a committee.
So families. Oh, and then you had mentioned a student,
Yeah, that would be good.
so I can ask, at last month you did that.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to have a high school student perspective.
It'd be interesting to get different types of people that live here, so you've got retirees and people who live here but commute to work someplace else, like commuters. Because I wonder if we're turning into, as people move like up and away from the Portland area. If there
Yeah.
are any people who landed here that are commuting out
I think there
and
probably are.
telecommuting.
Well,
Yeah,
I'd like to find out the telecommuters.
That's me.
that's
That's
you.
you.
That's me.
You're a telecommuter?
Put that in your application.
That's neat.
And the house you grew up in?
What's that? In the house I grew up in?
No.
How's your broadband?
Oh, my broadband is not great.
Okay, we need you on the broadband.
We need your voice.
No, I mean, seriously, that's the growth, is the
Right.
telecommuters, if you wanna really grow.
So maybe we should put a little appeal in the, put it out there, like on Facebook and Instagram
paper.
and in the newspaper.
Yeah, see who self-selects. That's
Yeah.
All right, and I don't know if I'm gonna get an update at our next select board meeting, but I want one. So if they don't put me on the agenda, then I'll just speak up during other board business and give them an update. And how many members do you think we should have on this committee? Between 7 and 11?
That's what,
That's
yeah.
the recommendation.
Can we leave it at that? Can we say?
But between 7 and 11, see
Yeah.
who comes forward.
Yeah, just look at the quality of the applications from any people that aren't, already participating, because you have, including the one person who left, you have 6 of you here today, and at least 2 other people that have done work already.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
That's
that's
true.
8,
yeah.
That's true.
you really don't need a lot more.
And I
Yes, I
feel like
think
we're
it's
kind of
really
diverse. I don't know, do we, like,
Yeah.
we're all ages and we're,
I feel like we're pretty good. I think we've got, for me.
Do we
it's pretty
live
different.
in different parts of town? I
You
know
guys
where you live. I don't know where you live,
Oh,
Ellen.
yeah, we're not diverse. We live right down the road.
Oh, you
We're both off
do?
of Old Bath. I'm on Old Bath and he's off of Old
I
Bath.
mean, I don't think that's essential. I was just trying to think, are there parts of town that, that we aren't representing that might be? And Jason lives downtown, right, on Hooper Street.
do we
Yeah.
need like
I don't know.
economic diversity? And I'm just thinking of the really large population of, people
Nobody
struggling
interested,
here, like, and I
It's-
don't know
it's
how
not
you can.
struggling, but
access.
this guy, do you all know Tom Kurtz? Do you know him?
Yes.
He lives in one of the trailer parks.
Yeah,
He
he's
is
very
not-
smart.
He is not a working class person, but he's living there and he would have a pulse on it maybe. I don't know, but you're right.
I don't know how you
There's-
get that in a.
There's also,
me either.
it's hard, it's just, it would be good if somebody wanted to participate, if we knew who would be likely to participate.
I mean,
I
that-
know we used to at CI always have difficulty on that, and a lot of nonprofits do, getting representation from a lower income, participating on a board, or on a committee. And
Yeah, some,
Yeah,
I mean,
supported
some
on
of the people
that.
do not feel they have the time to, it's sort of a luxury in a way to have the
Yeah.
time to.
Yeah, but I mean, if we knew somebody then who was interested or
Okay.
could reach out, I don't have connections, but.
All right, I'll think about that one. We have a lot of families in the school
We've got a guy that
community
works for
could-
the school
DEP,
community.
I mean, he's not that category, but they live off of Lowell Town Road. Jim and Joan Barnes used to be a select person
Oh, yeah,
originally.
Joan's great. Yeah.
They live in a different part of town, that's why I was thinking about it.
All
Yeah,
right,
If you do a high school representative, you could try to find somebody who comes from a lower income family, you might have a better chance with a high school student of somebody having the time to
That's
participate,
true.
even if their family's not wealthy.
in that case, I know a lot of kids that would be great asks.
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
yeah.
Yeah, why don't you?
You'd have to bribe them with Dunkin'.
I'll
You
supply
mean
some
we're not fun enough?
The Dunkin', they would have to be the.
Kim, could you just read through, I want to make sure I capture all the different suggestions that people have made. Can you read through your list and see if?
All right, so
So
I
you
have.
want me to read through the list I have, and whatever's.
Well, this is
best.
what I've written down, so between 7 and 11 members.
Yep,
And then looking for commuters, telecommuters, families, students, retirees, and that's all under age diversity.
yeah.
And then it's about retirees, so it's okay. Businesses, I wrote down
I'm a
Molucca,
retiree, so.
Ames,
What was the first one you said?
Molucca,
Oh, yeah,
Ames, small businesses, Ask the Chamber,
okay. Yeah,
Racetrack.
Yeah.
For nonprofits, I wrote down Chewonki, Morris Farm.
Yeah.
I wrote down another one, Teens to Trails.
No, that one. Which one is that?
Well, they're not based here, right, but they.
Oh, they're not? Scuba.
Well, no, I think they're based in Brunswick, but they have, I think, aren't they active in the high school?
They are.
Yeah.
That's why I thought of it.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, a student from that group too might be, I
Yeah.
mean, if there's an active student in the high school.
For municipal departments, I wrote down school and select board. Should we ask any other departments? I don't know. Okay.
I have reached out to some of the departments and tried to get people to show up, but they show up.
Wait, what?
I've reached out to some of the departments and tried to get people to show up.
They're like,
But they're having trouble.
Yeah, I mean, it's volunteer time, right? A lot of people
Yeah.
want to do that.
I know.
That's difficult.
Do you,
I never want to do it. I have to be honest. It's like, oh my God, maybe no one will show up and we can just go
You're
home.
so good.
But we do, it's like, I'm sorry.
You're out of
it's the truth.
control.
But, you know, oh, yeah, telling stories again. But it's important work. We have, it needs to be done.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
Okay, that's good.
sorry. Community organizations, I have the community center, Friends of Wiscasset Village, Art Walk, Snowmobile, I guess it's the Wiscasset snowblowers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the art gallery, I mean, they're trying to revamp
That's
that.
true.
Oh, yeah, art gallery. That could also go under, they're a nonprofit, that could go under nonprofit too.
Yeah.
All right, art gallery. It's funny because I think that the people are the same people, like the people who
Yeah,
are
we
in
know.
art gallery, Friends of Wiscasset Village and the chamber.
Everybody's
It's
in
like-
a small town, and there are all these overlapping.
And then town boards. We can invite all of the boards if they want to send someone. I mean,
It's just,
I don't know
some
what
of
other
these
boards
people
there
are
are.
just used on committees.
And then churches, we wrote down churches.
Yeah.
And then I made a little note to figure out a way to get make sure we have socioeconomic diversity. And that'll just come, I think, under our age diversity
And
section.
what kind of racial diversity do we have in Wisconsin? Do we have,
Not too
we
much.
can count on our fingers.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's why I said for Maine, the diversity really
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah.
All right. And then, review municipal planning assistance program information. I don't know if we need to, I don't have the projector, but everybody has the link. I encourage you to go in and,
Yeah, there's a lot there.
very encouraged now looking at other people's plans.
Yeah.
Have they edited down their plans? I mean, are they more readable? Is that what Bob Ponce did, or did he work off of the existing?
I don't know, it's the boot bay guy, I don't know what their original plan looked like, but from historic resources down,
Well, he probably didn't waste all his time totally editing that.
they actually changed the way, they put their vision statement and plan summary right up front,
Yeah, that's what you would do.
where we had in our original plan, the inventory is up front,
Yeah.
and the planning is at the bottom.
Well, that's what I mean, we need a concise
Yeah.
summary of this thing, or people are totally lost
Yeah.
on the plan.
I thought we did have one, but I don't see it here.
In our plan,
Yeah, I thought we did have sort of an executive summary, but it's either fallen out or my memory is wrong and we didn't, I don't know.
So you're working on transit.
Transportation?
The transportation chapter of DOT funds the regional planning agencies to do for
Okay, that's good.
communities.
Yeah.
That's really important.
And that's also what my background is in. so-
Right, so we don't have to worry about that. That will
Yeah,
happen.
that is so nice.
all right, it says here our next meeting is on Monday, February 16th. That's the school vacation week. I don't know if that's gonna affect anyone. Okay.
No, I don't think it will.
So I forget everything that meets on Mondays. You're saying that,
Oh, do you wanna come
Oh,
look
yeah, I
at the
should look
calendar?
at that.
Do we have anything else for this right now? Like anything else anybody wants to talk about, or? I think fill these in, you can either give them to me or just turn them in with the town clerk.
Is it Monday the 17th?
Yeah, I was gonna say 16th is Sunday.
So you want us to
17th, February
prove our
17th.
diversity on the back?
Yeah, Monday, February
Prove your
17th. Thank
diversity.
you.
Yeah, is that what we're doing back here?
Say
You're not
why
ready
you're
on Sunday.
I'm a younger guy with some young kids.
Yeah, that's, we are the
Well,
yellow
that's
circle with a
diverse.
star.
That's important, yeah,
Definitely
that's a-
diverse.
yeah, the age
Wait, and why
wise,
is that red?
that's a
It's
really.
another
I
holiday.
forget, where do you work?
Yeah, it's President's Day.
President.
Hey.
Town
Town
offices are.
And the town office is closed. So this happened to us
Alan.
this month.
Yeah.
I mean, that right there is important, that
You
you guys
guys-
a point of view, you know, and that's, it's super cool that you're willing to be here.
Our next meeting is on holiday.
Yeah, sweet.
So
we
the
got a
town
party.
office is closed.
Oh,
Well, this is what happened to us this month, which is because the town office was closed, so, I mean, I guess I have a key to come in, but,
Monday,
Is there
February
any heat on or
17th.
anything?
what?
If you come in and it's closed, is there?
I mean, I think I can turn the heat on. Does anybody have an issue with presidents? We did not meet on MLK Day. I don't know if people were away.
Well, I went to the dinner in Portland.
Okay.
Oh.
So, yeah, our next one is definitely, and then it happens again
Oh,
in
okay.
May.
this is 16.
So we can either move it to, another night, we could do what we did and jump it up to February 25th.
24th.
I mean, the
No, well, the 24th has a meeting.
The 17th does seem, to me, feels really close.
Yeah.
Alright, should we move it to the 25th then, you
Yeah,
guys?
25th is good.
Tuesday?
That's Tuesday, it's,
Tuesday, okay.
I wonder if we're gonna end up just changing our meeting night.
I know, I don't wanna derail, I don't wanna derail things, if it's better for everyone else to do.
Well, you know, I don't wanna interfere with anybody's President's Day activities,
Yeah.
celebrations.
So I should look at that. What was Jason saying? What were the Monday meeting he was talking about?
If you look, all those little dots, you can tell
You don't.
what meets. See the little key on the left?
Alright, are we all done? Are you gonna,
Yes.
I'm gonna turn off the
Yes.
mic.
Plan. Which one was Steve? Oh, he was the ordinance committee?
Ordinance Review Committee, maybe?
He's Ordinance Review Committee and Planning Board.
And Planning Board,
Yeah.
I
wow.
see. Okay. So,
I'll re-engage the departments person.
YouTube Live.